In the year AD 1258, Tatar forces, a subclan of the Mongols, burst into the city of Baghdad and laid waste to everything their sight fell upon. Countless books were tossed into the Euphrates so that it flowed black with ink for 6 months. The Tigris flowed red from the blood of the corpses for 6 months. And the death toll stood at 2 million murdered. This also included diseases such as typhus and the like that would spread post-invasion. Scholars fought valiantly, but in the end were not able to save what came to be known as the Dome of Islam, or Dar es-Salam, the abode of peace. Some fled, others fought and died, while still others were captured. Hulakul Khan and his Tartar forces saw to it that anything that could be destroyed was destroyed. But what did he destroy? Baghdad was built some almost 500 years previous to its destruction by the ruler Abu Ja'far al-Mansur as an attempt to answer the Al-Qarawiyyin school in today's Morocco, and also a capital for the Abbasid Empire. After toppling the Umayyads in Damascus, the Abbasid rulers wanted to have an administrational capital that was both moving and also ominous. They had enviously gazed upon the majesty of Damascus and the improvements in Jerusalem, along with dozens of Umayyad marvels in Andalusia, but the Abbasids sought something different. The other capitals they had seen were religious capitals, composed of Muslims, Jews, and Christians, in varying degrees living with one another in both stable and sometimes tenuous times of peace. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur wanted not only religious gravitas, but scientific achievement. He looked no further than Iraq. This had been the city of ancient Babylon and its mighty king Nebuchadnezzar, conquered by King Korosh or Cyrus of Persia, and it had also been linked to the Sassanid Empire of Persia. Iraq had a long history of science, not to mention civilization. The people of Sumer had built an enviable and highly advanced set of cities, not unlike their distant cousins, the Egyptians, to the south, ruling the Mediterranean. All of these civilizations had been the work of one great leader that had impositioned himself on the land to have groups of varying peoples create architectural masterpieces to attract people the world over. Al-Mansur wanted to follow in the same footsteps, and he could not do so in a better place than Iraq. He called together artisans, stonemasons, architects, astronomers, and every other trade possible to create his city of majesty. The site chosen would be formerly known as Baghdad, where idols had been worshipped. He chose to build over that another city, Dar es-Salam. The project began, and within a few years the city of Dar es-Salam was ready. It started with a central masjid, library, bathhouses, schools, and also housing for the thousands of students al-Mansur hoped would come. The 7 gates faced in the 7 directions that this circular city faced, and could be approached as such. Thus those coming from Egypt entered into a different gate than those coming from India, and so forth. The mammoth library, Dar al-Hikmah, was founded that came to hold some 500,000 volumes of literature in the form of vellum scrolls, papyri, and later paper. Books were translated from Sanskrit, Sindhi, Greek, Nubic, and Hieratic into Arabic. Scholars from India, China, Nubia, and all over Asia and Africa were called to come to Baghdad and contribute to the sciences of math, history, astronomy, horticulture, herbalism, alchemy, and chemistry. In a very short time, Baghdad eclipsed every other metropolis on earth in terms of the place to gather knowledge, exchange ideas, debate, take knowledge back to distant lands, and add to available knowledge, which leads to the subdivision of current sciences into more detailed specialist fields. Most startling of all was al-Mansur's insistence upon a fully self-sufficient city with regard to heating and cooling. Tile and marble were laid down in a circular pattern, the shape in which all of Baghdad would be built. Small slits were put in these tiles and marbles that would allow air to pass through. In the winter, steam would pass through from below in underground aquifers that would allow the city to be warm. In the summer, cool air would pass through the slits and allow the city to remain cool. This stroke of genius kept the city's nightlife, schools, seminaries, institutes always running, while other cities in other parts of the world would be closed during the winter on account of the freezing temperatures, or in the summer due to sweltering heat. Al-Mansur's determination made Baghdad, or Dar es-Salaam, a city that never slept, and neither did its scholars. A city that was always in a state of comfort made it possible to have cataract surgery, invent distilled alcohol, and anesthesia, and much, much more. Even looking at the shadow of Baghdad today, we can catch a glimpse of the former splendor of Dar es-Salaam. The fall of this mighty city upon the Tatar invasion in AD 1258 impacted the world, and according to the historian at Shapti, set the world back scientifically 500 years from where it should be. Imagine if today's science was 500 years ahead of where it is today. This is an interesting consideration in light of all of Baghdad's achievements.